Well, hey everybody, this is Don from Wizard Tower Games, and sitting next to me is my better half, my wife Tina. So, for those of you tuning into my show, welcome to my show, and I'd like to be on my best behavior now because my wife's with me. But um, if you guys have trouble hearing us, let us know. We can speak a little bit louder because we are sharing a mic right here, and yeah, so that's that. In tonight's video, we want to talk a little bit about um, our board game Pooh that we're getting ready to put out, and along with Pooh, we're going to be talking a little bit about the development of Pooh, what it's like. Well, she's going to be doing the talking, more like what it's like to be married to a guy who publishes and makes games. She was with me when I had my book publishing operation many, many years ago. We're going to talk a little bit about the time demands, the wife demands, and all that stuff. So, thanks for tuning in.
Hi. Thank you.
So, basically, for those of you who don't know, this is my wife, Tina. Tina is, by and large, in the background a lot. She is my cheerleader. She sits there and kind of backs me in what I do, gives me good ideas. And like I said, Scott Mulder says, howdy, Don and Tina. And basically, what the big thing that Tina did this time, and I'm a little bit rough around the edges because I'm not used to having my wife sit next to me in a video, but the big thing that Tina had a hand in with Wizard Tower Games, besides helping develop it and giving me ideas and supporting me and such, was our children's board game called Pooh that we're getting ready to put out. Let me go ahead and give you guys a show of what it looks like. This is Pooh. This is a board game designed for kindergarten and pre-kindergarten. Some call it developmental kindergarten. Some call it preschool.
Young fives.
That type of stuff.
Early childhood.
Early childhood stuff, yeah. And for those of you who don't know, my wife is a a developmental kindergarten teacher. So she teaches the wee little ones. But basically with Pooh, we wanted to make the game where it could take children in pre-kindergarten and or kindergarten and prep them for kindergarten or first grade. And I'll let my wife kind of explain a little bit about the cards and how that was kind of done, if you want to, real quick.
Oh, well, I just took a very basic concept of trying to get my developmental kindergartners to learn the alphabet and numbers. And I looked at the state of Michigan and what their curriculum and standards were. And it could be different for all different states, and I know I've heard Don talk about it a lot about how it varies by state, but basically we took that early childhood knowledge of learning the letters and sounds and making it universal, so when you see a card you can teach it at 3 different levels, like tell me the sound it makes or tell me a word that begins with that letter, or word, or it could be numbers too, like you could add 2 numbers together or just identify a number.
Well, we also took symbols. There was symbology brought into it also.
Oh, we did. Yep.
Yep. So the basic symbols that kids need to do, I can show you real quick also. This is the board for Pooh. Can I do it that way? It seems really simplistic when you take a look at the game itself, but for those that are in kindergarten and pre-kindergarten, it's kind of a complicated board for them to navigate. The concept behind it is they roll a 6-sided dice and they move around the board, and like if they run into a honey pot or if they run into they'll run into a bridge or whatnot, they in order to move they have to choose a card, and they have to identify that card and either write out or sound out the letter, number, or the symbol. So it kind of reinforces on a tactile level the game, and also along with the tactile level, it also helps enforce the overall learning of the concept. But yeah, that's pretty much Pooh. Look at this real quick. So other than that, she's been kind of like my go-to for ideas and such. Tina kind of helps me with everything from when we did the figures for D20 Delving, she helped me sit down with a 3D manipulation program, and I mean, she gave she gave the feedback on it, and she helped me develop them. And we're getting ready to do that for another set of figures, a limited edition set. They're going to be doing for 3D modeling that you're going to be able to buy sets of figures. And we're going to be breaking more information about that once we kind of cement it down and everything. But if you have any questions or any comments or anything, be free to ask them. We'd love to sit there and answer you. Other than that, the husband and wife of publishing, it can be tough. Takes a lot of time demands. A lot of time demands out of you. To my wife's credit, she kind of gives up, a lot of evenings. That way I can be working. She's on summer break right now, so she's going to help me in the shop. She's going to help me with things like printing and design and mailing and doing. So I'll get more organized on that because she kind of helps me become organized more when she's involved in it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I thought I was just the one that got to have the fun to do all the sitting down and helping create little figures and tell you what color
She does.
schemes that I like.
And she also does my proofreading. So like, if I write a book or I do any type like that, she'll proofread it and do just a basic grammar spelling before we go and we send it on to an editor. We just got done doing a book with Eric Tenkar and Tom Veralt. Eric from Tenkar's Tavern and Tom Veralt from Tabletop Taproom. We're doing a game called Blazing Sorcery Light. We're getting ready to also be doing a full-fledged RPG based on Blazing Sorcery Light, which will be kind of like, well, it'll be a full-fledged role-playing game. Eric has talked about it a lot on his channel. He's done a few videos. And when we get the initial game done, she'll go through it, she'll walk through it. And what I like about my wife is that because she doesn't do a lot of gaming, she looks at it with a different kind of eye. And plus, as a teacher, she looks at more of that teacher eye. So she can go ahead and get into it and get more... she points out the nuances that I normally miss. So, and then once the editor gets to it, they of course do their magic. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we did with Pooh, and that's pretty much what we kind of have. I mean, like I said, it's a unique relationship because of the time constraints. Because she has to give up a lot of time with me so I can get things done. For those of you who don't know, game publishing takes up a lot of time. It's a lot of computer time. It's a lot of shop time, especially if you do your own printing and binding and such. And it requires a lot of spousal sacrificial time, if you will. But
I think we have it down really well as a team. I mean, we started out with the publishing company, and I'm doing what I did back then. I give up, like I teach during the year all day, and then I come home and I'll either help you out or I'm in the living room or somewhere working on school things.
Yeah.
But then during the summer, even with the publishing company, I came in and I helped out in the office and
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for those who know, I had a publishing company back probably 11 years ago. I ended up selling it, and it having a publishing company, brick and mortar, we had nine women total working for us at one time. Nine women, and then we had like 11 or 12 contractors, artists, editors, things like that. And then we had like Steve was doing all of our running, pick up our books and such and stuff. But she was instrumental in that, because even though she was not formally a manager or formally worked for the company, she'd come in days off during the weekends and such and help out and do and such. Scott Mulder says, my lady is a second grade teacher too. Blessed teachers. Yep. Oh, second grade.
Yes.
Not far off.
That's a nice grade though.
Yeah. Yeah. Tina used to teach first grade. Before she came to work for her current district, she worked for a Montessori school.
And I taught, I understand your wife, Scott. I taught first, second, and third at a Montessori all together as a school year because they blended grades.
Yeah. So for those of you who, think that teaching one grade's bad, some of these schools are teaching 2 or even 3 grades in one classroom. And think of that. That's a nightmare of logistics. I mean, take my hat off to you. I mean, I don't have any hair to lose, but I'll tell you what, I'd be losing a lot of hair if I sat there and had it doing that type of stuff. But yeah, So basically, I think, I mean, trying to find, it's kind of difficult to talk about this because, we're just so used to, doing stuff together and being together. You guys are the real driver of questions and answers or things that you want to talk about in this. Um, you know, she has been, by the way, that scratchy sound in the background is not a cat litter box. It's our new kitten, Banks, and she's just playing with anything she can find on the floor. And I don't know where she found a piece of paper or something. So that's our little black cat, Banks. But, um, Tina's been around. Like I said, Tina's been through it all, and she's been with me the last, through all the BS the last few years with the whole dumpster fire out of North Carolina. She was there for that. And she's been there for that. You know, uh, she's, like I said, she's just been through all of this and just steadfastly stood by me. She knows what the deal is when it comes to how hard a work that this is. So, if you're a wife or a spouse of somebody who does game design or game publishing, she would be a really good resource to go ahead and ask questions about right now because she's been there, done that with me through brick and mortar all the way up to what we're doing right now. So, but so we got a lot of people in live. We got a lot of people watching in live, but not a lot of questions and comments. But um, oh, what can we talk about then? The cat's knocking things off my bank shelf. Um, but I think other projects we're working on that she's helped with. I mean, D20 Delving that we're getting ready to produce that and get that shipped. Like I said, she was in on the figure design on that. You were in on a lot of the board design, a lot of bits and pieces like that. Winnie the Pooh board game that we're doing.
Your open worlds.
Yeah, open worlds role playing game that we're getting ready to release here pretty soon. It's been so tied up with D20 Delving and also with the Lost Adventures of Gary Con, trying to get that done and bound and ready for distribution. We've got, in fact, I was working on it today. We have something that's pretty interesting. Some of you might be interested in, that is, we all like to be organized. My wife will tell you I'm a list maker. I'm really big on lists. Like really big on lists and writing things down. We have a tracker planner that we call Life Tracker Pro, and what it is, it's a tracker planner. You can start at any time of the year, and basically you can start off January, June, July, August, whatever. It's designed to go one full year, and along with tracking and planning your day-to-day and your month-to-month, through and throughout it, is things to help you with gaming. There are adventure hooks in there. There's small maps that you can use in your gaming. There's suggestions. There are things to help you keep organized in your gaming, whether you're a game master, dungeon master, or you're a player. So we're going to be releasing that here probably this coming week. The first one that's going to be in print is going to be printed tomorrow, and we'll be showing that off on a video and everything. So for those of you who like planners and like getting your things down in writing, it's going to be a really cool tool. And also what I like about it is if you have a planner, an actual planner, it's really cool at the end of the year to kind of take a look at what you were doing a year ago and what especially if you do things like I do, you do like long-term planning, you can see how your plans kind of sometimes go just as planned or sometimes they fall apart. But so Life Tracker Pro is getting ready to come out through us. Oh wow, well we got so much stuff getting ready to crack. Open Worlds role playing game, we got the Life Tracker Pro, we got D20 Delving after we get done doing Lost Adventures of Gary Con, D20 Delving, the board game. Screw customs, sorry, but you know what? Customs ain't worth a broke. You know what? They are horrible to deal with. So if you work for U.S. Customs, no offense intended, but your organization really sucks to deal with. But along with that, we've got let's see.
Well, probably a little bit down the road, not really recent, but hopefully in the next little bit we have that card game too.
Oh, Blades and Sorcery, that's right. Yeah, Eric, I don't know if you were on earlier. Thanks for tuning in, Eric, by the way. I actually was talking about it earlier and was mentioning how she did the proof on it before we sent it off to Tim Cass for editing. So yeah, Blades and Sorcery Light, and also Blades and Sorcery, the full-fledged version that we're going to be doing. Like I said, through Eric, Ten Cars Tavern and Tom Veralt from Tabletop Tap Room. And the card game I was just getting ready to mention was, or Tina mentioned was, you know, everybody likes poker, playing regular cards. What we've done is we've developed just a plain old poker deck, but it's got a really cool fantasy twist to it. And it's going to be printed on 320 GSM Black Core, which is the nice German Black Core cardstock that you find in Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon uses it. So, and I gotta make up my mind, but we may get it textured, like what they call it, linen back, where it has a texture to it. But yeah, just a plain old fashioned poker deck, but it's got a fantasy role playing game theme to it. So really cool there. Eric says, was out walking the dog. You just got in. Yeah, right at the beginning of this video, we were really talking about Blades and Sorcery and about the process behind it and such also. But also, and Eric's mentioned this on other videos, and my wife's going to be involved in the proofreading of it probably before we send it off to Timcast, because Timcast right now has Blades and Sorcery Light, the game. He's in the middle of editing it. So I should be getting that back in the next few days. So you can't have anyone better than Timcast edit the work. I mean, Tina knows how much me and Tim's been working together and such, and Tim is a hoot to work with. Definitely a funny guy to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're always in here laughing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not always in here with the two of us, and me having a teacher job. I can't be in here all the time, and
Yep.
I'm always hearing Don in here laughing, talking to people, and it's really nice to be able to say, hey, everything okay, and what was so funny, and fill me in, and get the quick download of what's happening to keep me in the loop. And
and like I said, Tim is a lot of fun to work with. And what's really nice about working with Tim is Tim has such a vast amount of experience underneath his belt. And Eric says Tim's specialty is true. He is. Yeah. And what I really like about Tim is, and a lot of people say Tim comes across gruff. No, Tim isn't gruff. Tim is honest. And Tim is blunt and honest. That's how I like it. And what I really like about Tim is, Tim will educate you. I mean, he has no problem telling you not so much what the problem with your work is, but he'll kind of give you the back end of, this is why I think it's better to do it this way, or this is why it's best to do it this way. And with the game that me, Eric, and Tom are all working on together with Blades and Sorcery, is not only will he edit the work, what he'll do is he'll put commentary inside the edited PDF and say, this is better. He'll ask a question, are you sure you want to do it this way, and such. And let's face it, Tim has 50 years almost, if not more, of game design experience, editing experience behind him, and all of that. So you can't get much better than Tim Kask listed as the editor of the work. But also with Eric and Tom, and Eric has hinted this in his other ones, we're going to be doing some other things with the Blades and Sorcery Light Core engine. And that is, and I'm going to use what Eric said. In all fairness, I'm not going to expand on other than genres. We'll just put it that way. Right, Eric? I used the same term you did. So, genres. And so, like I said, Blades and Sorcery Light, we got popping. Like I said, Tim gets me that edit sometime this week. It'll go to Eric and Tom for final perusal. We'll probably be using all of his edits, of course. Then once that happens, if I get it this week, Blades and Sorcery Light will be in print this month. It's a very simple book for us to print. It is digest size, so roughly about 5 1/4 by, I don't know, 8 1/2, 8 3/4, something like that. So it's digest size. Going to be roughly about 24 to 28 pages. So a nice little booklet. And Eric, of course, invented this. Eric has more experience with this game because he has played it at conventions and such. Yeah, thank you, Eric. David Floor. Hey guys. Also, while David Floor is in the loop, I got to compliment David Floor on his work with the game Zonk. his work on Zonk is coming along excellent. Um, really making some really cool improvements. So that's another thing. Zonk, the online game. And with my wife here, I want to talk a little bit about Zonk.
Oh yeah.
She knows about Zonk. Zonk is my pet, okay? I like my video game Zonk I'm making as much as she likes the new cat. All right? It's my pet. So basically what Zonk is a role-playing game online. It is going to be totally free initially. So when we announce Zonk is live for beta test and play test, and for initial sign up, get your account immediately, because we're going to keep it free for about maybe for a couple months, and then we're going to be charging probably, it's going to be like $14.99 a year to join and get an account. And what you can do with Zonk is, this is a really cool thing about Zonk is, and I'm talking about for those of you old enough to know, and for those of you young enough not to know, if you took Zork the game and TSR's Endless Quest books and mixed them, you got Zonk. What's going to happen is you're going to be able to sign up for an account. You choose your player character. I think we have initially 4 that you can be. Each player character type has strengths and weaknesses, and then what you do is you go ahead and you choose your player character, and then you can choose one of several adventures. We're initially going to have 1 adventure, maybe 2, that you can choose from, just to kind of get a taste for it, get people's feedback on it. You enter the adventure, whether it be a dungeon, a city setting, who knows. The first one is a dungeon setting that me and David are working on. And then what you'll do is you'll adventure through it. The way adventuring works is you have a player character in the upper right-hand corner. It'll be tracking your hit points, your defense, your damage. On the left-hand corner is all your spells, magic items, and equipment. You can choose different types of equipment, different weapons. Wearing different types of armor will increase your hit points and your armor points, or your armor class. And then as you're adventuring through the dungeon or through the scenario, you'll run into, there'll be an image of some goblins. It'll say you've encountered a group of goblins, and you'll have the option to talk to them or attack them or fight them. If you take damage in live time, your damage will get knocked down. And then you can also do things like you can search a room. If the door is shut, you can kick the door in or try to. You can open the door. If the door is locked, you can pick the lock or try to kick the door in. So it's a very dynamic online game that kind of harkens back to the old ways. For those of you who don't know, Zork was a text-only game, but it was very quirky because in Zork, you had to type the answer just right. So phonetically, you had to get it exactly right. You couldn't be vague. This will give you selections to do. And then on top of Zonk, we've got the cards. We have a role-playing game in a deck called Realms that we are, and I can't mention any names right now because we're just right now in primary talks about it, but I am right now in talks with a gentleman who is fairly well known in the gaming industry, and he's a hell of a nice guy, and we're talking about taking one of his main characters and putting it into and converting it into a card game where you could become an adventure as this character or some of his compatriots. So so that's basically what we got rolling right now, along with a whole bunch of other stuff. We got D20 Creek, the tabletop tank game. And then we're also going to be doing 3D miniatures, custom designed 3D gaming miniatures. And the unique thing is you're going to be able to order them in 28mm standard size for tabletop gaming. We're going to have scenario packs where you can buy a pack of figures, and along with it you can buy a pre-done dungeon. And what that'll be is it'll be a fold-out board, 28mm, little cards that you can set pits where you want to do it, doors, you can lock doors, and such, that type of thing. And then basically along with that, you can do something else with the figures. You can get them larger. So if you want that 28mm figure and you want a big 12-inch tall resin beautiful figure, we'll go ahead and print that. Terry R, thanks for coming to the show. He says work was fun. If you misspelled or forgot a word, it was very frustrating. Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is the funny thing about editing, and Terry brings up a really good point. The funny thing about editing is, and I ran this a lot with my books, is I did a lot of novel writing. Go on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, put name in there, you'll see all the books I've done. But you write a book and you read it, and you don't catch nothing. You read it again and again, and it looks perfect to you. And you're like, oh, this book is ready. And then, like, I'd have my wife look at it.
And then I come along.
Yeah. And, my wife takes the hard print and she does the old fashioned red pen with yellow highlighter. And she hands it to me. It looks like she went ahead and just recolored my entire book yellow and red.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So, what?
I was going to say it's just my thinking on it, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm always saying, back 2 pages, you said this,
Yeah.
and so we need to change it. And
Well,
but I mean, the books and manuals and stuff, I really enjoy going through them.
yeah.
I mean, I sit down with a glass of tea and,
Or a glass of wine, don't lie.
yeah, a glass of wine.
Red wine.
Yep. And it's enjoyable in the evening and to get my input, just like on the figures. I won't be online. You guys won't see me working on it, but I like the development of the figures and creating them and seeing what they would look like with, different armor or hairstyles and pouches. And
Josh, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for liking the content. Again, if you guys see something specific, and I'm going to rehash this out real quick, then we can move on with what she was saying. If you see something that you want us to talk about, or if you want to, have us do a specific show about something, go ahead and give us an email at info@wizardtowergames.com. Again, info@wizardtowergames.com, and say, hey, do a video talking about this, or if you see something on our website and you want us to talk about that product specifically, drop us an email. We're happy to oblige. So yeah, thank you very much for the compliment. Another thing about editing that she does is, and this is something, the tricky weird thing about editing is that you can be, and I learned this with my publishing company really in stark contrast, is you can read something, and because you created it and because you did it, you're so close to it, you can't see it. And it can be extremely blatant. I mean, really, where you're looking at it and going, did I graduate 5th grade? I mean, I'm doing the most fundamental errors, but when you're typing and you're in the moment and it's in your head flowing, in your head, you're hearing it properly and you're typing it and doing, but you can make fundamental errors. And it's not because you're, don't know how to spell or you're ignorant or anything like that. It's just you're too close to your work. And she tends to read, it must be the teacher in hers, she reads very methodically and slowly.
yep.
You do.
Well, I also have the littles too, so
Yeah.
Her little ones, she calls them littles,
yeah.
her students.
I mean, they're roughly 4 to 5 years old, so they're the youngest that I can get.
But what she'll do is she'll go through and she'll do, it's more of a content edit the way she does it. If she gets the spelling, grammar, punctuation, about a good portion of it, but what she really centers on is just what she was talking about is, 3 or 4 pages before that, I called that character Joe, and now I'm calling him Bob because I got 2 characters mixed up. It's called continuity. And continuity in writing and continuity in games. Let's talk about games and editing real quick. Continuity in games can really, really ruin a game, especially a role-playing game, because, numbers matter. And Eric Tenkart, Eric will tell you about this, even in something as small as the 24-page or the 28-page Blades and Sorcery Light that we did. You can get into issues where a saving throw table is off a little bit because the numbers don't match. You have to get the math right. So not only with the role-playing game are you having to make sure that you got the spelling and the grammar and the punctuation proper and it's done right, you also have to be very careful of the math, the mathematics behind it, because when you're dealing with large tables and they're progressively going up or down, or maybe they follow like the famous in D&D, the famous bell curve, when they talk about the D20, they're not putting that information about the bell curve on the D20 roll in there to impress you. They're doing it because it's real life mathematics that you have to keep in mind when you start talking about what are the probabilities on a D20. And I can tell she's really excited about D20 Dell, so. But 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 that's true. I mean, and the funny thing is,
Well, I've sat through D20, the whole development of it.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
the game.
yeah.
And just to let you know how long this game D20 Delving's been in development. I have photographs where we first test played this at our old farm in Bellevue, and this was back in 2010.
Oh, yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
we sat at the
2010.
table with our kids.
Yeah, and Sarah, my youngest, was vicious in that game.
She
She went
was.
for my throat in that game.
She would make deals with anybody to come
get
out
me.
on top. Yeah, to
Me.
get you and come out on top and win it.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
But that was a nice thing about D20 Delving development of it is, it started off as a traditional board game, and then in the last, and it's like anything, you take it and you shelve it. Because back then I had a publishing company. I didn't have a game publishing business. Game design was my side gig. It's something I did for fun. I still had the original. It wasn't called D20 Delving back then. It was called. It was one of the first iterations of quote unquote Dungeon Crawl, and then back in 2021 when I sold Dungeon Crawl to new TSR Hobbies and Justin Lanasa, barring what he did to it, that's when I centered on D20 Delving. And, really back then even back then in 2010, is I wanted to do some type of media content in it, some type of, originally we talked about maybe like a CD with ambiance music or sounds where you played the board game and you had like a CD playing in the background. And then QR code came out. And I started thinking, what about QR codes? How could we implement QR codes? And as you all know, thanks to Tim Kask and his wonderful voice, is we brought Tim Kask into it to read the cards. So that's the cat.
That's the cat.
She gets up at my desk, she's in trouble. That's a rule
Well,
I have not
I
my
was
desk.
trying to not make her squirrel underneath you.
Yeah. She has a thing for my red button that controls my entire computer console. Almost turned it off the other day. But at any rate, I can't write butt cat.
No.
But no, I mean, I think that, the thing about it is, to have a wife who's so supportive like I do, and she loves getting involved in the design aspect. And I think what's even more important with all of this is Tina knows that she has the ability to tell me that I don't like that. She won't insult me.
I do.
You do.
I do.
Yeah, and I've said this before, like to Eric and Tom, is when it comes to game design, I don't have an ego. I believe that a team effort is being stuck to
Yes, she's crawling up my leg. So
Thanks.
here's the new troublemaker.
that. Yes.
We're trying to keep you good so we can do the show.
Yeah. So the thing is I believe in a team concept approach. Is I want somebody to tell me that I don't like this about the game, because what I'll then ask is, tell me why don't you like it. And I think that when you're designing a game, that you have to design it with people like with my wife, who can say, even though we're husband and wife, and she knows it may be my passion, and no matter how long I've worked on it, you can say,
Yeah.
I don't like that part.
And I do,
Yeah.
especially on the cards and the design, because like
Yeah.
D20 Delving, the card design changed
Mhm.
throughout. And even Gamer Saga, the book that you wrote.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
10-15 year process. I think it's almost 15 years since you did the first edition of that.
Yeah, in fact, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend
Mhm.
when I began that book.
Yep.
And she's had her hands in every bit of it, in every iteration of it, and many parts of it were improved because of her. Eric Tenkar says, we are all better when our wives are part of the process. They keep us honest. Absolutely,
Yeah.
they do. And Eric, with you and Gamers Health, that you're doing every Saturday night, and now Tom and Tammy Verrell doing TNT. I wish one of them were in here. Go over to Tom Verrell and Tammy's page at Tabletop Tap Room. They just did a video the other night. I think it's going to be a thing they're doing now more and more with each other. It's called TNT Talks or something. Tom and Tammy, TNT. And it's kind of funny they did that, because me and Tina Don and Tina, I actually was thinking about doing the publishing company called D&T Games, Don and Tina. So, it's kind of funny that they did that and everything, So, but yeah, Eric's right. Involving your spouse should be something that is an enjoyable process. And if you have a supportive spouse, and I know Eric and Tom both have very supportive spouses, the more important thing is listen to them. I'm a good listener, right?
Yeah, you
Really
are.
good. I'm
I think we have very constructive talks. I mean, we always get things discussed and improved, and sometimes it might take 5 minutes, or it might take a day of just thinking on it on how we want to do it. But I like the part of, and I've said it earlier in the video, of just designing like the cards and and going through the artwork with you, because that's what I did from 15, 16 years ago when we were just dating. I started watching you do all the designs and way back then, and it's just evolved.
And keep in mind my wife's background, okay? My wife's background is not
It's not gaming.
It's not gaming at all. My wife grew up on a cattle farm. My wife's idea on the weekends of a good time was cleaning out her cattle pens and showing her cattle, right? Yep. And she was, as I used to call her, she was a corn-fed farm girl.
Yep.
And then she meets me, El Geeko, and our first date, I walk up and I see this blonde that has like 3 inches taller than I am, wearing blue jeans, cowboy boots, and a rodeo buckle.
I didn't have the buckle.
Yeah, you did. You did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You had that big buckle. And I'm thinking to myself, there ain't no way in hell she's going to have any interest in me. Here we are, 16 years later. You know what I mean? Eric says, it's much better to work with them than to have them arrested. Oops, sorry, couldn't help myself. Eric, by the way, thank you to you and Bad Mike for, again, flying me out on that black Learjet from Texas the other day when the FBI and the feds were after me. Hope it wasn't too much of a disturbance at North Texas RPG Con to have the feds hunting me down through the things with their M16s drawn. Yes, my wife has been intimately involved in all this nauseating BS, but we joke about it, and that's another key thing to it is you got to keep it humorous, you got to keep it light.
You must have had a good doppelganger, because we enjoyed a little hot dog stand.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon. Yeah, Saturday afternoon we went down. Our Saturday night was busy as hell. I'm not going to get into that here on live, but our day was a hot dog stand. So I made it from Texas back to Michigan in like 2.5 hours and go enjoy hot dogs. So, ain't I a miracle worker? And by the way, that $500K that I supposedly stole from that other guy, $40K. Yeah. And by the way, Kim Winston, your comment the other day about $40K and Warhammer, maybe I can squat on that trademark now. What do you think? No? No? Yeah, no, I don't think so. But at any rate, yeah, I got my snark in for the night on that. I'm happy now. Yeah, all right. Good deal. That's some driving. Yes, it was. Well, everybody, it's been 40 minutes. We're not going to stay a full hour on this. I think I'm going to cut it off because, my wife is basically wanting to get her sewing area all up to par and everything. We just had our remaining 2 daughters. Our youngest graduated from high school, and our oldest, who is going on 23, she's a manager at Starbucks. They decided they wanted to go ahead and get their own pad and apartment and get the butterfly wings flowing out there and fluttered out. So we got the whole pad to ourself now. So my wife is doing a sewing room and everything, and we got the kitten and the dog and the other 2 cats, and life is good. So real quick, everybody, just do a final up. If you hit the like and subscribe, please do. And also, do me a favor, go over to 10 Cars Tavern and my other friend, Tom, Tabletop Tap Room, hit a like and subscribe on their channels also. They've been a big support of me and Tina. Me and Tina both appreciate Eric, Tom, Tammy, and Rach both, all 4 of you. We really appreciate you. But in closing, real quick, look out for the new gamer planner that we're going to be putting out. I'll be doing videos of that tomorrow. Along with that, we are wrapping up and hopefully going to be wrapping up print and bind on Lost Adventures of Gary Con. Then right after that, we're getting into the printing and production of D20 Delving, the board game. Meanwhile, that'll probably be released in customs once we get that done, so we'll have an overrun of games, but can never have too many, right?
Sounds like I'm going to be organizing.
Organizing a lot. Also, we are looking at expanding this summer into corporate digs, where we're going to have moving all the operation, print, buying, production, everything over to full-fledged dedicated place like we had with our publishing company. We got poker cards coming out. We got the tabletop D20 Krieg and WizardCon. Scott, we are still in a little bit of a flux at WizardCon about the venue. For those of you who do not know, a individual who used to own a publishing company that recently bankrupt contacted the venue that we were going to be dealing with and sent them a lot of very nasty, untrue things. The typical stuff he's posting all over about me. Eric just did a video on one of his alt accounts, sent emails out and everything. Well, he sent the people over at the arena the information too, which is a bunch of BS. And we've been kind of like being forced to jump through a lot of really silly ass hoops. But they have to be precautious. They don't know who I am. They're being told some pretty horrible, heinous things about me. So we are pushing on with it, but we're in a little bit of a flux with it right now. I was supposed to find out a couple weeks ago that it went to Friday, and then finally my thumb is down on them, and I'm going to be actually giving her a video meeting, a call meeting tomorrow, and I'll be doing a video update tomorrow afternoon, Scott. So appreciate you, and I look forward, by the way, to meeting you at WizardCon. If that tells you my mindset of what I think is going to be happening here.
I look forward to WizardCon.
Hell yes, we are. This is going to be a hoot. Well, it's going to be a lot of stuff going against certain people. We will not name Voldemort by name. We'll just call this individual Voldemort. And I apologize to J.R.R. Tolkien for insulting her character Voldemort by comparing the two, because Voldemort's much nicer, decent human being. But basically, the way this is going to work out, just to kind of expand this real quick, because the question was asked. Actually, the other day, I was doing an off and on chat with Tammy Veralt, Tom Veralt's wife, on Facebook, and we were talking a little bit about it, and she offered some really good suggestions that I'm going to be kind of following up with to have some good ideas. But one thing that this individual Voldemort, who's doing all these online attacks against me and my wife, sending us autopsy photos of my dead daughter, fake ones, and all the other nonsense that Yahoo's doing, he doesn't realize something about me. He's not making me mad in the sense that mad where I want to crawl into my desk and fold up and cry and go away. That's my wife, how I am. When I get pissed off, you piss me off to a point, I'm going to get even more determined to do what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So make me mad all you want. The more you do, the more you make me determined, because like my dad told me a long time ago, you really want to piss an enemy off, you piss them off with success. And that's what I plan on doing. So I'll leave it at that. So everybody, thank you for tuning into my video. Thank you for meeting my wife tonight.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yep, and what we're going to do is please hit that like and subscribe button, help out the channel a little bit. If you'd share the video, that'd even be good on your social media. We're trying to get the word out about it. So this is Don, and this is my wife,
Tina.
and this is Wizard Tower Games signing off, everybody. Have yourselves a good week. Also, I think tomorrow night Eric's doing his live. He's doing his midweek live. He does it at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights. So, and Tom, you got to do some more videos, buddy. You haven't been doing much videos lately. So, but I know you've been busy as hell at your school too, working. So, everybody.
Woohoo, I'm done.
Yeah, good. Done for the summer.
Out for the summer.
Yep. So, everybody, good night, and hope everybody has a good week. This is Don and Tina signing off. Talk to you later.